This is
The meeting's being recorded.
I'll start that again. Welcome. So I'm Medina. I am the agent here at Expectations Realty. So, and this is Tony.
Tony Parker, Cross Country Mortgage. I'm the lender.
Yeah. So we're going, and this is Andrea. She used to meet her in person today, but we had some things happen. She's going to join us though, so we're grateful for that. So yeah, come on in, join us. We have refreshments and stuff. You guys feel free to go ahead and make yourself comfortable. If you want to grab something, just go right ahead. We have some. You guys guess the keys? Y'all put a guess in.
My son.
Hi, what's your name? Nice to meet you. What's your name? Joel. Nice to meet you. Yeah. All right, so thank you. So we're gonna go on with the program. So I'm gonna hand it over to Andrea, which is our wonderful broker here at Great Expectations Realtor, broker owner. And she has graced us today. We're so glad she's here. So go ahead, Andrea.
I had to be in two places at once, and one of them was 5 hours away. So we're going to do this because I want to make sure that we have the information. And we've been doing these homebuyer workshops for quite a while. We've actually been doing them for years. And we actually went ahead and we were doing it at our office. Then we decided, you know, with COVID, we went to Zoom. And I think everybody was just kind of over it. They wanted to actually come in person. So we went ahead and started doing them at the public libraries. This is the first one that we've had back at our own office. So congratulations and welcome. Thank you so much for coming in for this. We're super excited to actually have it come full circle and have, you know, everybody back at our office. We're always a lot more comfortable at our office because if there's something we need, we have it, or we can get it, or we can print it, or whatever. It's a little bit more difficult when we're setting up at one of the public libraries or the community centers that we've been doing these in. So that's cool. All right, everybody can hear me okay? We're all okay with sound, everything? Awesome. All right. Okay, so we're gonna go over the 10 steps to actually purchasing a home. It's only 10 steps, but they're crucial, and it's extremely important that you do them in order. If you do them out of order, well, it's kind of like baking and cooking and stuff like that. If I give you the recipe for the brownies and I'm like, you have to do X, Y, Z, and you leave the eggs out or something like that, you're going to make something. I'm not entirely sure what you're going to make, but it's probably going to not be edible. So we want to make sure that we are actually creating something, and that's how we're going to do it is abiding by the recipe. And as I go along, I'm going to explain not just what it is, but actually why it's that way, why it's in that order, and also how much, because that's the big question a lot of people have is, if I buy a house, how much is it actually going to cost me out of my pocket? I want to know exactly every step of the way, what is it going to cost? So we're going to go over that because a lot of people have this huge fear that they're going to go all the way to the closing table and then somebody is going to say, oh, I need like $10,000 or $100,000, and you're not going to have the money for it. That's not what happens at all whatsoever. But I want to go over that, and we're going to get rid of some of those fears. And that's actually why we started doing these classes in the beginning. We started doing them because there were so many people that we were renting out to, and we were renting these houses. And I'm like, these applications are amazing. There are so many of these people that could purchase a home. Why are they not purchasing a home? And a lot of it was stone cold fear. They had decided on their own over and over and over again that they couldn't qualify for a house, so they just kept putting it off, and they figured there was some big old white guy in a suit, like a three-piece suit and a bank, that's going to have a big red reject button. So they told themselves no instead of asking the question, which drives me nuts. I'm like, you know what? This is just a little bit of education and getting rid of some of those fears. We're going to be able to turn this around. We are going to help people to understand that they can actually get a house. It is well within your means to do so. So we have had a few in the past that I had one young man that said, I can't even get loaned a library book, much less a mortgage. He had extremely bad credit and everything. I'm like, that's okay. That is okay. It is no judgment. We've all been there. We've all made our mistakes in our youth and whatnot. So there's no judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. Okay. It's kind of like going to Planet Fitness. We're not going to judge. Okay. That's not our role. Our role is to help and provide resources. So even if you have a credit score of 300, I'm not going to say boo to you. That's not where we are now, is not where we're going. Okay. And where we're going to get to. So that's our goal, is to help you every step of the way. And you have amazing resources to do that. Tony over here is absolutely phenomenal with helping people get pre-approved and pre-qualified. And he has this really, really, really cool program where if you go ahead and you want to get a pre-qualification and it's like, well, not quite approved yet, not yet. That's the main thing. He never says no. Okay. He's not the big old white dude in the 3-piece suit sitting in a bank with the reject button. That is not who you're looking at right there. That is the person that is going to say, okay, if you pay off $123 on this card and you pay off $56 on this card, we can get you to approval. That is who I want in one of these homebuyer workshops, is the person that can tell you not only where you're at right now, but how to get to where you want to be. So first step is, of course, coming to one of our courses, finding a realtor that's going to help you. That is the first step. That is somebody that is going to walk with you, whether you are at the lowest of the low point or if you are just about to get keys. Either way, having somebody to walk you through these steps is huge. It's absolutely huge. And that's why we have Medina over here. She is a full-on realtor. She is more than happy to answer any questions you might have. And if she doesn't have the answer, that's okay, because she's just going to call me anyway. And there, I would have to say, is nothing you could possibly come up with that I haven't seen already. Like, I say that, and then somebody comes up with something really crazy. But for the most part, I'm going to say there's not much at this point that I haven't seen. All right. So Tony, he is your second step. He is who is going to help you figure out your finances, figure out what you need to put forth in order to get approved to get a loan. It's basically like if you ask Medina to take you to the grocery store, because essentially she's your shopper's helper. That's basically all a realtor is. We are glorified door openers. Okay. We're licensed through the state to show you houses and to get you from step A to step Z. You know, we've got to get you all the way through, and we're required to keep on the process and keep you on the process and all of that. But essentially, we're like helping you shop. Like, it's like the best part of the job. It's like HGTV. That's the fun part, is going shopping for a house. But let's say you asked her to take you to the grocery store and you're like, hey, can you, I need to go and pick up some groceries. I got to get some milk. Can you take me to the grocery store? And she goes, absolutely, let's do this. And you go to the grocery store and you have absolutely no idea how much money you have in your wallet. So you have no idea of your cash. You have no idea what's on your credit card or debit card or whatever. How on earth are you going to figure out how many groceries you can get or how you're going to pay for it? So you got to figure out what's in your wallet before you go on the shopping trip. Does that make sense? All right. So I can see all of you, by the way. So, you know, so if you're going to go shopping with Medina, the first thing you got to do is figure out what's in your wallet. Obviously, you probably already know what's cash in hand, but you're also going to need to know how much cash you're going to need all the way through. And you're also going to need to figure out if you are going to have assistance from the seller to pay your closing costs. By the way, that happens all the time right now. Or you're also going to check and see if you can maybe qualify for a down payment assistance program. So, Tony, without your reject button, I know nothing in your pockets, you left that at home today, but go ahead and walk them through the process of what it actually is starting from when they go ahead and say, I think I want to buy a house? What is the process?
Yeah, super simple, guys. Once you decide, hey, I'm gonna buy a house, I want to buy a house today. It's a timeline first. I'm gonna buy 3 months or a year from now. We're talking about maybe next summer, next spring, right? So it's super simple. All I need from you guys is your financial profile. What is that? I shared that with you. What's your financial profile? It's 4 things, right? I need a credit score. I need a your list of your debts, what you owe. I need to know what your income is, and I need to know what your assets are, how much you have. So I get that. I just get your email. I send you an email. It's an application. It takes probably 10, 15 minutes. Plug that stuff in. We do a soft credit pull on your credit. It does not affect your credit score in a negative way, right? And with that, I get the application. I go over the information. I call you back and I say, hey, let's go chat about the application. Let me just make sure the information is all correct. Once it is, then I'll go back and run your financial profile through our computer. We have about 125 different programs, from down payment system programs, 100% financing programs, programs where you don't have to put 3%, 3.5%, 5%, 10%, no mortgage insurance, through buying investment products, through buying all kinds of programs, right? And so after talking to you, we'll figure out which program best fits. I'll gather that to figure out how to save you the most amount of money. I'll structure a loan, and then we'll get on the phone for a third time and go over the numbers. And I'll show you. I'll pick the 1, 2, 3, 4 options and say, hey, this is what it looks like. You just need to put in $5,000 down. That'll pay for closing costs, down payment, etc. Right? And this is what your monthly payment's going to be. This is the program we're going to use. All right? These are the extra documents maybe we need to make it happen. In a nutshell, that's kind of what I do. Right? There's more to it, but it's the beginning part is super simple. It's just give me your email, shoot an email, AI tech application, super fast. Takes 10, 15 minutes. I get that. I call you back. Just go over everything with the application, right? Maybe upload some documents. Right here it says you're getting pre-approved. First step. Depending on what your income and assets are, the credit and the liabilities is off soft pull credit. I got that. Income is income documents like pay stubs, W-2s, tax returns, etc. Assets, bank statements, retirement account statements. You just upload those into the AI tech portal we have with the application. Comes right over to me. It's super secure. There's no, it's very safe. It's all, by the books. I get that. I take a look at it. I analyze it. I call you back and say, hey, this is what we can do right now. This is how we can put you in a house today. You are approved. I get an approval letter, send it over to Medina. I'll give you the approval letter. Then you guys go shopping. It's like, hey, I'm approved for 300,000, 400,000, 200,000, whatever the number is, right? Then you guys can go buy a house, identify that house, make an offer, right? I'll go into that house. I'll get the address and I'll analyze their taxes, their insurance, the area. Sometimes we'll switch programs because the area, maybe a special area, like a USDA loan. Okay, it's a great program, great loan. Okay, 100% finance, lowest interest rates, right? No mortgage insurance, great loan. It's for the government funds. It helps people buy in rural areas. Guess what? How many rural areas are around Ocala? It's like all rural, right?
Thing. It's the whole thing.
You get the 100% finance. You get the lowest interest rates. You get all those benefits. So, if you fit into that program based upon your financial profile, the 4 things. What's the 4 things?
Income.
Income, yes.
Credit score.
Yes.
Debt.
Yes. Thanks, Tim.
Forgot to.
Assets, your money. Yeah. So that's good. Yeah. So you get those, and we get that application. We figure out what your financial profile is. Hey, he fits with the USDA program. Great. Let's do that. Let's switch programs because you're buying a house in a rural area, maybe 1 acre, got some space out in the country a little bit, right? Let's do that. Okay. And then I'll send that information over to Tina and she'll make an offer and I'll negotiate. And like Andrea said, right now, sellers, guys, it's a buyer's market. They're paying for closing costs. They're paying to buy your rate down. I just did a deal recently. I helped a client and their rate was like around 6.1, 6.2. We brought it down to 4.99 because the seller helped because they wanted to sell their house. It's been sitting for 6 months. Okay. You know what I mean? So now is the best time to buy. But talk to a realtor, get pre-approved,
All right,
You're up.
so let's, so then it goes back to your realtor, right? Thank you, Tony. Okay, so the beginning part of that, 15 minutes. 15 minutes will give you a rough idea of what you have available to you in your wallet. He'll print out a little piece of paper, which goes with your offer. That goes over to your realtor. So when you go shopping, she's going to know what not only what you qualify for, but also what you need. So if she knows, for example, that you're going to need seller to pay closing costs, she's going to go ahead and make sure that all of the houses that she shows you, the seller is agreeing to pay closing costs or most likely to pay closing costs. So all of that, she's already got figured out. So a lot of times we'll have somebody that's going and looking and they're like, hey, I saw like 15 different houses on Zillow that I really, really like. And it's like, none of those, she's already screened those out. Because we literally have about 5,000 houses currently for sale in Marion County. 5,000 to choose from. So we have to kind of, screen it down. Like, do we want to 55 plus? No. Okay, well, there goes about, 800 of them. So we just kind of keep filtering and filtering until we have the correct house or the correct houses. And that's when you go shopping. That's when you actually are like, okay, let's do this. Let's go see what we got. And you pick one from them. Now, when you go shopping, there's a few things I need you to keep in mind. Do not pick and fall in love with one house. Don't do it. Don't do it, because we need to be able to negotiate. And what if there's some issue with that one house that, it comes up on the inspection report or something. Maybe that one house is not, it looks pretty, but it doesn't have good bones. So don't pick one house. I want you to pick 3 houses. Okay. So she's going to show you several houses, maybe a dozen houses, whatever it takes. But I want you to find 3. I want you to find the only one that you absolutely love, and then the one that is okay, it's pretty good too, and then the third one that you can live with for now. Because statistically speaking, you're in a season of your life. It is not your forever home. Everybody always says it's your forever home. It is not your forever home. Things change. The kids move out. You have more kids. You have, maybe you had an injury or something and you need to not have any yard work, and so you go from a house that has 3 acres to no acres. There's things that change, and a lot of it is not stuff that you have any control over. So just because a house is perfect for you today does not mean it's going to be perfect for you 15 years down the road. Okay, so normally, statistically speaking, people stay in a house right now for 2 to 3 years. They buy a house and they're in it for 2 to 3 years. So keep that in mind. It is not your forever home. It's your perfect for now home. Okay. I don't want you to put so much pressure on yourself that you're afraid to even go shopping. Okay. We're going to get into, rent versus buy a little bit. I'm going to have you guys crunch some numbers. But for right now, I promise, no hard math. I'm on vacation, okay? It's going to be easy stuff. But I do want you to also know, when you go shopping with Medina or your agent, whoever the agent is, and you go in there and go shopping for your home that's perfect, please keep your thoughts to yourself while in the home. We have seen over and over lately where the sellers have Ring cameras, they have audio. Do you know cameras can only be like this big and they hear every single word you say about their couch and their terrible taste in curtains? Please don't say anything. She'll remind you too. But literally, do not say anything while on the property, okay? Wait till you're back in the car. Because I had a buyer and I forgot, it was a family member, of course. It's always the family that messes you up. But I had a buyer that said, oh my goodness, this is the house. Whatever they want, I'll pay it. And I'm going, and of course, I'm looking and there's cameras everywhere. In fact, one of the cameras moved while we were in the house. And I'm going, please shut up. Please shut up. I had absolutely no negotiation to do in that. I couldn't. Literally, she killed all negotiation. I had no leverage. She's like, I don't even want to look at other houses. And I'm like, oh. She ended up paying full price and she was fine with it and all of that. But She didn't have to. We could have negotiated some more stuff. We could have done a lot of different things. So when you go into the houses, just assume the seller is standing in front of you, even if they're not. Okay? Heads up on that. I keep telling all my sellers, I'm like, if you want to listen in, you better put something up and a posting or something saying that you're listening in. That's just creepy. But it is. It's just our day and age. It's what happens. All right. So what I want you to do is scribble down real quick the date. It's going to be your perfect date. It is the day that you are handed keys to your new house. Okay, that is the date exactly that I want you to keep in mind. So if it is Tuesday, November 18th, 2026, I don't care what it is, but look at your things. Maybe you're in a lease, maybe you're doing something up north, you know, you need to go up there, you know, maybe you go vacation, whatever that is, figure it out and then figure out what date would be the perfect day to have the keys. Now, I would warn you, if you're in a lease currently, don't make it for the end of the lease date. You need days to move. And normally when you get a mortgage, and I got to ask Tony, of course he just walked out of the room, but normally when you get a mortgage, the bank or the lender wants a little bit of time to get themselves in order. So they don't actually have you go ahead and pay that first mortgage payment immediately. Tony, normally isn't it like 60 days? That's when you're going to see your first mortgage payment?
Yeah, great question. So whenever you close, let's just say November, let's say we close on November 25th, right? The next month is December 1st. Usually there's a payment due. Always the next month we skip. Okay? And then the next payment's going to be due January 1st. So you get the keys on November 25th, you skip the December 1st, you pay on the next month, which is January 1st. That's your yeah, it would prorate that. But at the same time, if you were to close on November 2nd, right? You skip December 1st, paycheck. That's almost 2 months. So you almost get 2 months of like free rent kind of thing. You know what I mean? So that's a strategy that you could utilize.
We got to have these good strategies here. So that's what I see a lot of times is somebody that's been renting for a while, they'll go ahead and put in, they're like, oh, well, I don't, you know, I can't pay two payments, my rent and my mortgage. So, you know, I'm going to move everything out at the same time and exactly the same day as I'm doing the closing and 5,000 pieces of paper, and I'm going to move my house in. And I'm like, that is a terrible, terrible idea. Please don't do that. Don't do that to yourselves. You have time. Okay. So keep that in mind. So if your lease, let's say, is going up, we're going to say June of next year. Okay. That means that if your lease is going up in June of next year, you're probably going to want to go ahead and purchase your home anywhere from 30 to 60 days before, because it's going to allow you to go in and, you know, paint if you want to, or, you know, change all your utilities over, and just, you can ease into it. Okay. And you're not going to have to worry about paying double payments. If you want to just live mortgage and rent free for a month, so be it, whatever floats your boat, but don't put too much pressure on yourself as you're coming up with the perfect day to get your keys. Okay. So does everybody have their date? It's an actual day. Ish. You can put some thought into it. It's okay. All right. Everybody's like, it's going to be the 2nd of the month. I'm telling you that right now, because I'm going to get that extra free month. Yeah, absolutely. Like, go for it. Get it to your strategies. That's the thing is, you know what? You can probably figure out how to play around with the system just a little bit if you know what you're doing. And that's one of those simple things. All right. Going back into it. So you've got the house. You absolutely love it. You got house number 2 as the backup. You have house number 3 as the, it'll do for now. It's better than paying rent. And that's when you go ahead and fill out a contract. Now, you probably already have on your pre-qualification letter what contract you're going to, or what financing you're going to have and all of that. So if you're doing, we're going to use the example of USDA. I love USDA. I actually love USDA more than VA, which is crazy because VA should be a veteran benefit, but it's not. great. It's okay, but it's not great. I actually like USDA better. And USDA is for anybody, almost anybody that purchases outside of the city of Ocala. So if you look at the map, it's anything outside the city limits, which means USDA financing is like golden Ocala. Everything in Southwest pretty much, because the city of Ocala limits is right there at 60th and 200. Crazy, right? So technically, I don't even think the airport is in city limits. It's crazy. It's really crazy how it does it. So there's so much of our county, and also Citrus County, the entire county is USDA eligible except the courthouse, and nobody can live there anyway. So I'm just going to say the whole city is eligible. So we're going to use USDA. You could definitely do FHA. You could do conventional. You could do all of this different stuff. But to ease into it, we're just going to use, as an example, USDA today. So you're going to go ahead and put in an offer. And you're going to decide how much work you need to do on the house, what your finances, what your goals are, and stuff like that. And you're going to go ahead and put an offer. Okay, cool. In that offer, I would highly recommend at least try to get seller financing. Because most of them have some kind of cushion built in. Not all of them, but at least try. The worst they can say is no. Don't say no for them. So at least try and get some, so maybe have the seller pay your closing costs or give you just a credit at the end. Or maybe, pay towards your down payment, whatever you're going to do. Okay. It's just going to all go over to these there. So ask. Worst case they can say is no, but ask. All right. If you're doing USDA, you can also do down payment assistance program. In fact, you can do more than one. It gets a little complicated. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. Tony, will end up losing all his hair, and none of us want that. So I would say just look over the many, 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 many different programs. The way you find out what programs are available is actually by the house. A lot of people think it's by them or by the area. It's not. It's actually the house itself. So what happens is when Medina or your realtor goes ahead and pulls a search, and they pull the house that you're like, this is the one, this is great. She can also pull all of the down payment assistance programs and the qualifications for each of them and what they offer. So let's say something fairly easy is like $10,000. That's a pretty normal down payment assistance program, right, Tony? All right. So we're going to say you're going to get a down payment assistance program, and you're going to qualify for that. Okay, cool. So you go ahead and put in the offer. You're going to get a down payment assistance program. You're going to go ahead and ask for seller financing. Awesome. If they go ahead and approve it, great. You're now in contract. Congratulations. You're moving towards the finish line. Normally, you close in about 30 days. So keep that on your timeline as well. Okay, so as you got your date that you want to close, you're going to count backwards 30 days. And then you're going to count backwards again because you need shopping time. It's not like you instantly go out one day, stare at a house and go, yep, that's it, and then go and put in an offer. I would love that. That would be great. But it's extremely rare that happens. Normally you want to go and take a little time, maybe sleep on it, think things over. So give yourself shopping time. Don't get too close up on the date. All right. So give yourself like a couple weeks of shopping time. If you find it right away, awesome. If not, that's okay. Because if you find it right away, we can make the offer so that it's 45 days closing time. We have leeway. 45 days, 30 days is very, very normal in real estate. So again, right on there on the time. Okay, so far, what have you paid? Nothing, right? Tony, do you charge anything for doing the pre-qualification? Your 15 minutes of fun? You pay nothing. Okay. Medina, do you get paid to go out and look at houses a la HGTV? Nope. Okay. So moving right along. Once you go in and make the offer, there's something called escrow, or your escrow payment is basically to show that you're serious, that you are actually going to put some money down. It is not necessarily a down payment. It's not anything. It's just going to sit. Escrow in its base meaning is other people's money. That's all it is. I had somebody ask in another class, I kept saying escrow, escrow, and he's like, what is escrow? If we are using any terms, by the way, that you are not familiar with, and you're like, what the heck is that? Please stop us and ask for a translation. We speak in realtor all the time, and that's not fair to you because sometimes there's a word or something that you just don't understand. Ask, okay? Because that's our fault for not forgetting all that stuff. All right, so escrow, that means other people's money. That means a person or entity like a title company or an attorney's office. That's where you're going to go and do the closing at. They're going to do the majority of the paperwork, okay? So that entity, we're going to say title company because in Florida, most of the time we use a title company. They're going to hold that money. It's not the buyer's money. It's not the seller's money. It's not the title company's money. It's just being held in escrow. It's other people's money, okay? It's just going to sit there. Now, how much do you normally put in escrow? It depends on the house. If you're going to buy a $500,000 house, I'd say probably put $5,000. It doesn't have to be crazy. If you're going to buy a house that is median, the average or median house price here in Marion County right now is, I believe, $260,000. If you're going to do that, $1,000, $2,000, right around in there. So let's say $1,000. You're going to put $1,000 in that escrow. It's going to sit there. Normally, you have 3 days to do that from the day everybody signs the contract. All right. And don't freak out about the dates and times and stuff. It's good to know them to understand, but you're not going to be the one required to remember. That is actually your realtor's responsibility. All right. They're going to be calling you up going, did you pay your escrow payment? You know, that's the next step. All right, let's get that done. You've got 3 days to do it. They're going to be telling you every step of the way the stuff you're supposed to be doing. As is Tony. Tony is going to drive you absolutely out of your mind asking for paperwork. And it goes very quickly if you do the paperwork at the time he asked for it. So please send it as soon as possible. It'll make everything go much, much faster. All right, so you have the contract. You have the house right there. You know it's the one. You have the escrow payment you've put in. That's $1,000. So keep that in mind, that $1,000. Sorry about that. All right, what's next? What is it that you really, really want to know next? You got to check those bones. You're going to need an inspection on the house. Okay, so that's the next step is your inspection. Now, about this time, Tony's going to be calling you going, all right, we need to schedule the appraisal. Tell him my favorite sentence. No, it is a complete sentence. Just let him know you haven't done the inspection yet. You have to do the inspection before you do the appraisal. Why is that? Anybody? What's that?
Want to see if it's worth it.
Yeah. Well, if you do the inspection, let's say you do the appraisal first, and that's where the bank comes out, checks the house, makes sure that the house is worth the amount that they're going to give you to pay on it. They need to make sure it's a valid asset. So they're going to do an appraisal. If they do that first, and then you do the inspection, and then you find out there's a whole bunch of not good with the house, and you back out of the contract, you don't get the money back for the appraisal. So you always, always, always do the inspection first. So you got the escrow payment. You've already got your estimate or for your inspection already figured out. I would even recommend talk to a couple of inspection companies. There's several inspection companies here in the area, and just give them a basic idea of what you're doing. They really love to get an address, but if you just have questions as to what's in the inspection, what they cover, how much it costs, how long it takes, anything like that, they're going to go over all the stuff with you. Okay. I can tell you normally we're going to say a cookie cutter house anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 square feet. That is going to run you about $500 or $600 for an inspection. It's going to take approximately 2 hours, and you're going to get the full inspection with color pictures and a summary of all the issues the next day. Okay. Whether or not you add things on, that's up to you. You could do a termite inspection. Sometimes it's required depending on your financing. That normally runs right around $75 to $100. You could also, they're going to check to see if there's ever been termites, if there's active termites now, you know, all the fun stuff. Then you can also add, oh, good grief, you could add everything. You could check every single wall in there for lead. If you want lead-based paint, you can check for, oh my goodness, the stuff they check. You could check the mold levels in the house. You could add all sorts of stuff, but you will be paying for all of that. And it is more time consuming. Like if you want to check for lead-based paint, it could take up to 10 days to send that away and stuff like that. So anything extra that you want to do that is more than just a regular home inspection, let everybody know ahead of time. Let your realtor know ahead of time, because they're going to need to make sure they have sufficient time on the contract for your inspection. Normally in a contract, we put anywhere from 10 to 15 days for your inspection period. During that inspection period, if there is something weird or wonky with the house, you get to walk away and you get your escrow payment back. You don't get the money for the inspection back, but count it as a blessing, because a few $100 have saved you thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, because you would have bought something that was not so fabulous. So it is definitely worth it. Now, what do they check on the inspection? Normal inspection is going to check the roof. It's going to check the hot water heater. It's going to check all of the plumbing all over. It's going to check every single electrical outlet. It's going to check any of the appliances that are coming in the contract. They're going to check, I mean, everything. They're going to try and check every single thing. They're going to check the air conditioner to make sure that it's cooling. Then they're going to turn on the heat, even if it's middle of summer, and they're going to check to make sure that the heat is going. Some inspection companies even check to see if they have these devices that'll actually check to see if there's water behind the walls. So if something is leaking and you're not seeing it, they can actually tell. So there's a whole slew of different stuff that they can go and check. So all of that, they'll let you know ahead of time what's included, what's not. You can let them know what things you're worried about. Maybe you saw something in the house, you're like, they said that was an old water leak, but I'm thinking that might be a current water leak. So they're gonna allow you to, tell them where you specifically have a question mark or whatever. All right. You can also ask for a well inspection where they test the water, and you can ask for a septic inspection. Those are a couple $100, depends on what you want to do. So basic inspection, about $500. Okay. It's about $500. They go in, they inspect everything, you're good to go. All right. Let's say you get the thing back and the summary and the whole inspection and all of the pictures. And, of course they put it in big red lettering and stuff if there's something wrong. But let's say you got all that back and you're like, okay, there's like 8 things on here that are kind of worrisome. All right, these are some stuff that needs to get fixed with the house. I don't really feel comfortable with it not having get these things done. But it's not my house, so I'd like to get this stuff done. All right, there are 4 things you can do. You have to make a choice. There are only 4 things you can do. One of the things is accept it as is, and you're like, you know what? I'll take care of it. Those are small items. They're not that important. I will take care of it later. Cool. That's one of the options. Another option is you can walk away and say, you know what? This house is barely, you got some like wallpaper that's holding up the walls. There is no chance this thing is full of termite. I don't want any part of this house. So you can walk away. And again, if it's during that inspection period, you get your escrow payment back. So you're golden. Another thing you can do is ask for a seller credit and say, there's like some issues, like that water heater is actually older than me. And I know it's about to break any day now. And yes, it's functioning now, but I do not want to buy this house with that water heater. Can you go ahead and give me the money at closing to cover the costs to replace that? Or whatever other things you want them to replace. The only other thing that you can really do is have the seller do it. Say, I want all of this fixed. Here's my list of repairs. I want it all fixed. And I'm going to come check before closing to make sure all of my list of repairs were done. Now, it's up to the seller to decide if they want to do that or not. That's where it comes in, where we have another level of negotiation. That's perfectly fine. But they're going to go ahead and they're going to decide. And if everybody has decided, then your realtor is going to write up a real quick addendum. You're going to see lots of addenda and lots of addendum, and everything has to be in writing and everybody has to know what's going on. But they're going to write up and say, the buyer wants this, the seller agreed, they both agreed, everybody sign here. Here's what they agreed to. And they're just going to put it on there. Okay. All right. So then what happens after the inspection? So far, we're about what, $1,500 in, depending on the house size. $1,500 in. All right. You next have the appraisal. That's where you call Tony up and go, okay, the house is good. Couple issues you don't need to know about. Don't tell him. But a couple issues, no big deal. He's laughing because it happens. Then the seller's going to take care of it. Don't worry about it. We're all good. Let's move on to the next step. So he's going to go ahead and order the appraisal. Tony, you know a little bit more about that because that's more your end of things than our end. What happens with the appraisal?
Yeah, so appraisal, dudes will send you, you gotta pay for the appraisal first. So I'll just need to go over the link. They're anywhere from around 500-ish to about 750-ish, depending on which type of appraisal, the appraisal, USD appraisal, FHA. They're all different prices, right? The appraiser that goes out there, they're third parties. We have nothing to do with them. We don't want the lenders and appraisers on the same page. So they're third party or separate because they're determining the value of the home. We are when you borrow money. So if we were on the same page, keep that separate. You pay the appraisal fee, okay? Immediately we'll order the appraisal. It goes to the appraisal board. They'll take whoever the appraiser area. They will call the seller usually to schedule an appointment time. They'll come out to check the home and also check the market. They have their own formula on that appraiser, but they'll find out if you're buying this house for $300,000, is it worth $300,000? So they are there to tell you what the market value is to protect you. Sometimes the appraisal, if it's $300,000 house and it comes in at 305, we're good. Okay, we'll move forward. It's fine. But if it comes out below, let's just say it came out to 295, right? Then that's an opportunity for Dean or the realtor or you guys to go back, maybe renegotiate, because we can't do it. We have to make up that gap, the $5,000 gap. So you can go back to the seller and say, hey, look, it's not worth 300. It's only worth 295 for the appraisal, right? So that's your opportunity to renegotiate, get the price down to 295, or if they agree with that.
Does that happen often?
Yeah, it does happen. It does happen if the prices, they're asking a little too much, I mean, and usually we'll not, your realtor will kind of know, we'll have an idea, right? So they will have an idea about the range, right? But the end of the day, the appraisal that comes in that report is what it goes on. So usually takes about, from you paying for the appraisal, about 7 days for it to get ordered, inspected, completed, and the report back. Yeah, definitely recommend that needs to happen after your home inspection. Okay, because if you do, like Andrea said, another way, you do appraisal first, you lose leverage. It's a leverage thing too.
Yeah, please let us have the most leverage possible to negotiate. Because in case you're noticing, a lot of people think, okay, I made the offer, I'm done with the negotiation stage. No, it is actually all throughout the process. You're going to be negotiating, or actually your realtor is going to be negotiating on your behalf because there's so many things that can pop up. I would say, as somebody that's been in the market, we haven't had a lot of issues with appraisals in the last couple of years. More so it was when the market escalated like overnight right after COVID, or during COVID, depends on what state you're in. So all of the house prices went from like 150,000 to 250,000 to 350,000 for the same stupid house overnight. And so when an appraisal is done, the appraiser has to say, yes, this house is worth it because that house next door or across the street or both sold last month for the same price. Well, they weren't able to do that. So we were having some issues. We were having a lot of issues with that then. Right now, everything is pretty stable. If you look at the numbers, it's a very, very, very stable market. And it's been a stable market for about a year now, give or take. So it's not hardcore sellers market. It's not hardcore buyers market. I think it's a little bit slightly leaning more towards the buyers right now. But it's stable. So having those issues with the appraisal is just not something that we're seeing quite as much right now. Tony, are you seeing it more now, or are you seeing anything different?
No. Like you
All
said,
right.
it's pretty, what's the word? It's pretty
Yeah.
consistent, right? Pretty
Right.
consistent with that. The only time I did run into is when they increased the purchase price to get more seller credits, and then it
Oh.
added to that. No.
Yeah, that doesn't
Yeah.
work. You can do a little bit. You can't do a lot. Nice try. All right. So once you do your inspection and once you do your appraisal, the inspection and appraisal, depending on what parts you want in or whatever with the inspection, they're going to run right around, like I said, depends on the house and the area, all that, right around anywhere from 500 to 800, we'll say. So low end 500, and you can kind of, beat up the inspector a little bit and maybe get him to give you a better price. But appraisal, you don't even get to talk to the person. They just go out, do their thing. They don't want to talk to anybody. They're very introverted, I think. Anyway, so they're going to check. They're going to check. They're also going to want to know if you have gotten insurance yet. That's where you're really going to want to go ahead and start looking into insurance. And you can't really do that now because you have to have the address of the house that you're going to purchase. So you can't really start it right from the start. You really need to do it once you're actually in contract. So you don't want to go ahead and, say, yeah, this is the house for sure, because you're a little too early for that. So you don't want to actually, get that insurance policy set up, but you do want to know how much and who and, a little bit of information. So go ahead and start testing the market right around the time you get your appraisal. All right. So once you have that, then you're going to go ahead and do a survey. Now, the survey may be ordered by the title company. Oftentimes, title companies will order the survey, which is really good news, because if they order the survey, they're going to put it on the closing day costs, your closing costs. And if they do that, then you're not going to have to come any money out of pocket. And if you've done a down payment assistance and or seller paying your closing costs, you're not going to have to worry about it at all. It's going to come out of their money. So, I mean, the more you can get somebody else to pay for you, good day all around. So we're going to say, if they don't, a survey is guess how much? Right around $500 to $800 for a basic house, like, cookie cutter, 3-2 concrete block, whatever, basic house. That it's also going to be the land. If you decide to go ahead and get, 20 acres of land, that survey is going to be more expensive. It's going to be closer to like 1,500. Because they have to go trekking out into the wilds in order to find the ancient survey sticks and that are encased in concrete from 100 years ago or whatever they have to do. So it's going to be more expensive the larger the lot, or the more work that they're going to have to do on the survey itself. So just keep that in mind. But if it's just like basic lot, like in especially in a subdivision like Marion Oaks or Silver Spring Shores, they're going to charge you $500 and then put up a couple flags and call it a day. You definitely need to have a survey. You need to, because your lender is going to need it, and also the title insurance, the title company is going to need it. They need to make sure that there's no issues with the actual property, such as your neighbor built their shed in the back on your property. Well, that's going to be a problem. That's definitely going to be a problem. Or it might be that you're getting a beautiful house with a fenced-in yard, and the fence is actually on the neighbor's property. That's not good either. So you're going to need to find out all about that stuff anyway. You're going to need to find out how much of your property is actually owned by the utility company and all the wires and stuff are under your driveway. It's a good thing to know. It's a good thing to know. So all of that stuff is what you're going to find out on the survey. So again, could go ahead and do it, about $500, or you can just ask them to put it on in with your closing costs at the end. All right, so what are you out at this point? About, you know, $1,000 for your escrow or earnest money deposit. It's also called an earnest money deposit. So you've got 1,000 sitting over there for that. You've got your appraisal, you've got your inspection, maybe your survey. So maybe 1,500 to 2,000. That's what you got in it. And then you go to closing. And once you go to closing, that's where you're going to be stumped with like hundreds of thousands. No, that's not how it works. Tony actually, by federal law, by mandate, has to send you over all of the closing numbers and make sure that you understand them and that you've been able to, review them, see if you have any questions, and you'll have all of those numbers at least 3 business days prior to closing. So that is great. It used to be that we would actually show up at the closing table. They would flump down about 200 pages and it's a whole gob of numbers and craziness. The lender's nowhere to be seen. And they're like, sign this or you're not getting keys. And there's the moving van out and thing. So it was awful. It was awful. So federal law changed. And quite frankly, I agree with it. I always have. Having 3 business days to sit there and review the paperwork and get your questions answered is extremely important. So it's really good that we actually have that. You will have that information, and then your realtor is going to ask for something called a preliminary HUD or a closing statement. And what that does is it lists everything that you need to pay, all of your credits, all the seller credits, all of the commission, all of the stuff, everything is going to be on there. So you know exactly to the penny what you need to bring to the closing table. Okay. It's going to have the down payment assistance program. It's going to have the financing. It's going to have your escrow, everything. All right. So you're going to have that ahead of time. You can actually even ask your agent for it up to like a week before your closing, so you know exactly what you've got going on. So that earnest money deposit, remember how I said it wasn't the buyers and it wasn't the sellers. So what happens to that money at the end? It's yours. You get it back. It's your money. So it can either be applied to something that you owe still, like if you owe a down payment or something like that, it'll go towards that. It is your money. It's just basically being held by a third party so that they can confirm that, you're going to abide by the contract, that you're a serious buyer and stuff like that. But once you go through the contract, it's your money. You get it back. It ends up being a credit to you. Sometimes you'll get a check at closing for that amount. Now, my sister, I'm going to use her as an example. Poor thing. She doesn't even know that I use her as an example, but you don't know her, so it's fine. She recently, last year, she kept telling me, I can't buy a house, I can't buy a house, but I can't buy a house. I'm like, you can buy a house. I promise you can do this. And so I pushed and shoved her, and she went ahead and she's like, okay. She goes, but my credit, I'm like, no, you can do this. I know you can do this. So she did. She went ahead and she bought a house. It was just shy of 200,000, and it had brand new roof, brand new AC, brand new flooring, it was practically a brand new house. It was great. So she went ahead and did that. She did everything exactly like I said. She did the USDA. She did the seller financing the seller closing costs. She did the down payment assistance program. So guess how much she needed to pay at closing day when she sat down? Any guesses? How much?
Nothing.
They
Zero.
actually they gave her a check for her escrow back of $1,000, and then they owed her $9,000 more. And they're like, we can't actually give you that money because it's through you got it through a program, but it's USDA, so you don't have a down payment, but you got a down payment assistance. So that's just going to go where? And then the seller paid all her closing costs. So, and that included her realtor. The commissions for the realtor is considered a closing cost. So she had absolutely nothing that she had to pay. And then they had her check for her escrow sitting there. And then they're like, we have $9,000. Like, what do we do? They put it towards her mortgage. She walked out of there with $9,000 of equity in her house. I was like, wow. So tell me again how you can't buy a house. Go ahead, just tell me now. Her mortgage payment is way less than what she was paying in rent, way less. So of course she still has, her insurance and her she has her insurance and she has her property taxes, but that's all built into the mortgage payment. So, so she's just a really good example because I actually know like the details and I can share that of hers. So I want you guys to go ahead and do some quick math with me. I know it's a Saturday. Shouldn't have to do math, but all right. We're going to do this on averages and medians. Okay. So if you pay, $5,000 for rent, I'm not going to use those numbers. I don't know what you pay in rent. It's none of my business. It's totally fine. I'm not the numbers person. But we're going to use the averages. Right now, the average for rent on just a basic 3-2 is $1,700 a month, which I've been living here for almost 25 years, and that's crazy. For Ocala, I never thought I'd see the day, but that is the average rent payment is $1,700 a month. The average house right now is right around $250,000 to $260,000. I haven't checked it today, but we're going to say $250,000 because I happen to know Medina and I were doing a search the other day, and we were looking at brand new construction homes throughout the county, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, concrete block, has brand new everything, and they were all less than $250,000. All of them. We saw some at $219,000. Okay. Yeah, not yeah. Tony, if you were to do a USDA loan, I know I'm putting you on the spot because it depends on your credit and all that, but broad terms, don't hold it to them. But broad terms, if you have a $250,000 house and you do a USDA loan, about approximately how much is going to be your mortgage payment each month? Broad. Are you allowed to do that?
1,500, maybe 15 to 16 around there.
Yeah, including everything. Feel free to do some research. There's some mortgage calculators online. They're all over the place. In fact, I bet you Cross Country Mortgage has some mortgage calculators, so you can kind of be like, all right, if I take 5,000 and put that down, or 10,000, or I buy down points, or whatever, that kind of stuff. What's my rental? What's my mortgage payment going to be? And it'll take into account your insurance, and it's going to take into account if there's an HOA. It'll ask you all those questions, but just play around with it. You will be shocked at it. It's like the same thing. It really is. It's so close, but it's not. If you decide to move tomorrow and your rent at the house you're moving into is $1,700 a month, and they're asking for first, last, and security, so it's 1,700 times 3. And then just, any of you guys have pets? Yeah. Okay. So pet fee is normally right now about $250 to $300, non-refundable normally. So you just get to pay that joy, and it's per pet. Then there might be pet rent on top of that, but we're going to leave that off. We're just doing basic fees. So we'll say $250 per pet will go on the low end. And there's going to be an application fee per adult that will be living there. Those are anywhere from $50 to $100 per adult. Then some places charge a rekey fee of $50, an admin fee of $100. These are all fees that get tacked on. All right. So if you look at that math, approximately how much in your life, if you were just doing an average house, how much is it to move into a rental out of pocket? about 6,000, right? Give or take, depending on how many. What's that?
Get renter's insurance too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You got to put that in there. So yeah. And then, if you have like the RBP, the resident benefit packages and stuff like that with, AC filters and pest control or anything like that, that's all extra. That's all extra. That's all on top of it. But we're going to take it pretty low and we're going to say $6,000. So if you have $6,000 to move into a rental and then you have to pay $1,700 a month thereafter, and they do not give you a free month normally, or you have that scenario where you bought a $250,000 home and you get money put towards the mortgage at closing. I mean, which of those scenarios? My sister was looking at renting versus buying. I'm like, buy a house, buy a house. You can't afford to rent, my friend. Which of those scenarios? She didn't have $6,000 sitting around. I don't know. Some people do. I mean, I'm not going to talk about myself, but some people do. But she didn't. That's for sure. So there are ways that you can do this where it is so perfectly feasible to do it. It's not even funny. Even with paying the appraisal, the inspection, the survey, all of that, it's still going to be less expensive. Not only that, at the end of your rental, let's say you live there for 3 years, you've paid all of that rent, $1,700 times 12. Oof, something loud. Okay, I have a dentist appointment. It just pops up. Okay. Well, let's say you have $1,700 and you live there for 3 years, because remember, statistically, people move after about 3 years, 2 to 3 years. $1,700 a month times 12 times 3. You are going to get sick to your stomach how much you paid. Because when you move, guess what happens? You get to start all over again. You get to start all over again. They're going to look at the house and they're going to decide whether or not you get your security deposit back. That last month's rent, that's gone because that got paid to rent. All that money is just gone. And you have to start all over with thousands of dollars more. Over the course of your life, it is insane how much you will pay for rent. Sorry, go ahead, Tony.
I was gonna say that math, 1,700 times 12 times 3 is $61,000, right? That could be going into your pocket. That could be your home.
It's so painful. Oh, it's so painful. Okay, so over $60,000 in 36 months. Do you know what kind of car I could drive? It's a lot of money, and it's just gone. You might as well flush it down the toilet. It's just gone. A lot of people just look at apples to apples. They think they're okay. Well, if I'm paying $1,500 for a mortgage payment, or I'm paying $1,700 for rent, well, I'm not going to have to do any repairs if I'm renting, so it breaks even. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Because again, every single time that you're paying money in for a house that you bought, you're not paying to a landlord. You're putting it into equity in the home. And now there's also appreciation, which means that the house is going up in value. Remember how I said it's a stable market. It's not going up, it's not going down, it's not dipping here and there. It's just steadily going up. The same as inflation. It matches inflation. If nothing happens, nothing changes, it's just going to match inflation, and that means still going up in value. And if you don't believe me, because you're like, oh, there's been dips, there's been, people have lost themselves on the market. No. If you go and talk to somebody that purchased a house 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and ask them if it was a wise decision, they're going to be like, yeah, I made $100,000 just by living in my house. They made so much appreciation. It was ridiculous. $100,000. And what's crazy is if you sell that house, and even if you're a single person, you sell that house, if you make $250,000, that's over what you paid of the house. So if you've gotten $250,000 in appreciation, that's tax-free. You pay no capital gains on that. It is not even income. $250,000 tax-free. So tell me, is renting the same as buying a home? It's not. It's not. You're also going to have a lot more stability. Unfortunately, there was a lot of people that purchased houses Back in 2008, 2009, 2010, it was a lot of investors. They've purchased houses back then. And they've been renting those houses out for years and years. They've been renting them out. Well, now they're trying to get out of the market because the houses are worth a lot more now than they were then. They bought those houses for like $50,000. Okay, now they're worth $300,000 depending on the house and the neighborhood. So a lot of the property owners that we've had for years and years and years are now slowly selling off those houses. Well, what happens to the tenants that have been in those houses for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? They're like, I've been paying rent on time. I've been doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. Why are you telling me that you're not going to renew my lease? Because you don't own the house and we don't own the house. It's not up to us. If the owner wants to go ahead and sell because that's what's his retirement, you don't have a lease anymore. And it normally happens at the absolute worst time. It's normally when they're like just coming out of the hospital. So I feel like a horrible, horrible individual. But at the same time, there is no stability, absolutely none to renting. There's absolutely none because you don't own the house. And it's the sad truth. There are so many times that somebody's like, you got to help me get into another rental. I'm like, absolutely, let's do this because they're in a situation. So we do what we can to help. But at the same time, there's no stability. At any point after 1 year, they can be asked to move out. It's not a great plan. It is definitely not a great plan for longevity. So just keep all of that in mind. So when they talk about how you can change your family tree or you can change how the next generation is going to have wealth, it's because you provided the stability. You have the roots in your community. You are the one that is actually owning a home. It really does help over the long haul. It really will help. All right. Any questions? I'm ready for them. What realtor-ese did I use? Say that was anything that was not, you didn't understand or you have more questions or anything like that. What do we got? There we go.
I got a question.
Okay.
What's the difference? You said that you prefer the USDA loan. What's the difference with that and the VA loan?
That is a Tony question. You're up, man.
So, I mean, USDA and VA loan, the VA loan, you have to be a veteran or a spouse to a veteran, right? And so, it's for a smaller company, right? The similarity is that there's both of it, you can do 100% financing, so you don't have to put it down. That's kind of a similar piece to it. Both of them don't have mortgage insurance, but they do have their own form of insurance, guaranteed fee. Okay. Some military folks are exempt from those fees, right? But in USDA, it's based upon, like Andrea said earlier, the address or the area, because they're trying to get people to buy rural areas. So if you are a veteran and you're like, which one do I choose? Super simple. You need 15 minutes. And I'll figure out the numbers and we'll just pick. I'll show you. USDA, your payment's this. VA, your payment's this. You know what I mean? 0 down payment, right? Whatever is going to be the smaller monthly payment, that's the one you're going to pick. Yeah. The one that's going to have the least amount of money out of pocket to start out with, that's the one. Right?
I think, yeah. For me, I think that the personal opinion here, you can have your own opinions, but for me, it's supposed to be, the VA loan is supposed to be a benefit to our veterans. And so I would like it to be more of a benefit and less funding fees and fees and fees and fees and fees. There's a lot of fees that they tack on. So if it's going to be for our veterans, let's make it for our veterans and make it a true benefit and maybe kill off some of those fees and stuff. But personal opinion only. But again, when you go to sit down with Tony, he's going to go over all of those things and figure out what's the best for you in your particular situation. Hopefully, I think he has time afterwards if you want to sit down with him, or if you want to sit down with Medina, maybe do a search and look at some houses and stuff. They've both got time to do that yet because it is just after 3:15. So, and the course goes until 4 o'clock. So ask your questions, but if you want to do the 15-minute pre-qual again, it is not, we're not pressuring you. We don't do that. Okay, that's not what this is. This is only if you want to get more information on your particular circumstance and you want to pull it, go for it. If you don't, that's perfectly fine too. But I do want to make sure that you know that's open to you. It's an offer for you. So again, and I think it's a soft pull so that there's no ding on your credit. It's just informational only. Okay.
I do apologize for stepping out. And it's a renter issue. Furnace that's broke, fighting with the owner to fix it. Go through the contract real quick again for me. So, okay, I decide I want to do this.
Hmm?
You said there's a contract.
Yes. Yeah. And Medina can actually give you a blank contract to review. There's two main ones that we use. If I have the seller, I require them to bring in the purchase and sale contract. But if I have the seller, I ask for that one. If I have the buyer, I ask for the as-is contract. And I know it sounds like it should be the other way around, but it's really not. The as-is contract has a clause in it that during the inspection period, if there is anything that you see that you don't like, it could be the color of the grass isn't green enough. It's for any reason that you decide that you don't want the house during that inspection period, you get to walk away and you get your
Okay. That's
money
what that's
back.
for.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why I like that as is for the buyer.
Okay. Okay. That was my question. Was I locked in?
No, you have an inspection period and it's a fill in the blank. So normally they do 15 days. Sometimes we'll do 10 days if we want it to make your offer look a little more spicy. So it really depends on the situation. If we're not asking for closing costs, we're not asking for very much, we're not asking for a much lower price, well, I'm going to take the full 15. But if we're asking for a lot of give from the seller, then I'm going to make some changes, maybe do an inspection period of 10 days instead. But your realtor is going to sit down and talk to you about all of those things so that you have a contract and an offer that is, going to be in your best interest, but also competitive and will get the best answer. So.
Has it ever happened where you get approved for, I'm going to make it up, it's easy, $200,000 and the house you look at, 200,000, but then they come in and appraise it at 250 and now you're in trouble because you can't get the $50,000.
No.
Yes, it appraises for more. Yeah.
Yeah, so
sitting there.
That's not how it works.
Okay, good. That's what I'm here for, is just to get those little questions out of the way. Okay.
So who is paying for the appraisal?
I am.
That means it belongs to you. So whatever it appraises for over, you keep that information to yourself.
You don't go back to the owner and say,
No. Think about it. Okay, so you're buying a house. You spent $200,000, right?
Mhm.
And you're in a contract,
Mhm.
right?
The bank comes in.
Okay, and then I say, hey, let's pay for the appraisal. Let's go order it. And then whoa, it's actually worth 250. Now you're like, awesome, because you just bought a house for 200.
Okay,
But
so
it's
that
worth
doesn't
250.
make the
No.
loan go up.
No.
Is what I was thinking.
No.
Okay.
It's no.
Okay.
For sure. That's.
I thought it was the bank was going to come in and say, nope, you're going to have to pay $250 for this home.
No.
Okay, so that's
It doesn't work
good.
the other way.
That's just letting me know, hey, this is what the house is worth.
Exactly. So yeah,
Okay.
it's just the bank needs to make sure that it's at least worth what they're offering.
Okay, I thought they were going to come back and tell the owner and then.
No, they don't even get to talk to the owner at all. They don't get their contact information or anything. It has nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
So no, absolutely no. It is completely yours. And it's the same with the inspection report. We actually have to ask your permission before we share the inspection report. If you want them to fix something and you're like, hey, tell them to fix this, this, and this, because the inspection report, we're like, can we share the inspection report so they can see the pictures and see exactly what you're talking about? But you paid for the inspection report. It is your inspection report. So it is up to you what you share and what you don't. That is your stuff. You don't have to share the survey. Okay. You don't have to share anything that you pay for. That is your possession.
Okay.
So I'm just going to share with you the prepayment penalties. If you have a prepayment penalty on a home, right? Let's just say it's a 5-year. What that means is that if you can't refinance or pay off, you can refinance or you sell the house, right? then there's a penalty.
So you're locked in for a few years.
Well, you could do it, okay?
But
but
just
then
like
you
when I
pay the
lease a car,
penalty.
if I turn it in early, I
Yeah,
get trouble.
you have to pay like a
Got it.
fee. right?
Okay.
So, but the prepayment
Keeps you
penalty,
on
yeah, that's not on every month. That's mostly on investment properties.
Okay. Yeah, cause I can imagine people do that. They have the option.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm looking more for like long-term, probably more than the 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
My last home, let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we'll structure the loan to where it benefits you for a long term.
So let me ask you that question, and I'll just throw it out here. I am 60. I'm not gonna be around for 50 years. I mean, that's given. Do they give a loan to somebody my age? Like a 30-year mortgage?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
They're not allowed to
I mean, that was
discriminate.
one of my drawbacks of even coming here. I'm like,
we have a mortgage that's 30 years, 5 years, 20, 15 years. You might tell yourself, hey, I want to get this paid off in 15 years.
I don't
I want to
think
have no payment.
yeah, but I don't think I'm gonna make a payment that high.
Well, yeah.
But who knows? You know
Who
what I
knows?
mean?
I might have a.
You might,
0%
you
interest
may,
rate.
you may have, yeah. But that was one of my draws of even coming in here is saying you've never owned a home in your life and you're 60. Who's going to give you a loan?
I'll give you
Everybody.
And that's what I spoke with.
As long as the
You
money's
seen her
safe.
come and give me a hug here. And then, no, yeah, you'll get a loan, you know.
Thank you so much for that, because you literally just brought in the point that I originally said, that so many people deny themselves or tell themselves they can't.
Oh yeah.
A little bit of education, absolutely. The lenders, no lender is allowed to discriminate based on age.
Really?
They are not allowed to even, and I don't even think they even ask you your age. I mean,
I think we beat ourselves up.
No,
Like
they're
we're not worthy
allowed
of
to-
it.
absolutely
You know, we
you
all
are
have like
the same as anybody
there's
else.
things in my past you'll see, you know, and so we all beat ourselves up. But yet I'm still writing a check every month, and you all can close your ears. My rent right now is $3,000 a month. Look at her looking at me. It's a beautiful 5-bedroom with a
It would be
swimming
much
pool.
better if it was yours.
Yeah.
That
So
big.
why give this person $3,000 a month? And right now I'm fighting because I have no heat and he don't want to fix the furnace.
It's crazy.
That's why I had to leave. Was to fight with him some more because he doesn't want to fix the furnace because he can't afford to fix the furnace. But I'm paying you $3,000 a month for your home.
Well, the sad part is too. Is
I'm tired.
You're giving them all of that, right? There's a problem with the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's your house, which is fix your price. It's your house,
Right.
you know? But that's his house. You gotta pay that. And guess what? Next year, they might raise your rent. No control.
Oh, I
No
have
freedom,
a
no
feeling he's going to dump this house because we've only been there since July. And so far he's fixed the refrigerator, done the furnace once already, done the furnace again coming up. The pool's been messed up. So it's a money pit for him. So I have a feeling come July, he's not going to renew anyhow. He's going to say, I'm selling. And I don't
And then
want
you
that.
got to worry about moving and doing all the stuff. So
So
yeah,
when you own your own home, then you don't have to worry about that.
We'll get you
nope,
Yeah.
you make the rules. No pet fees.
That too.
Yeah,
You got to home for my goats, guys.
get yourself a
we-
pit bull. Does not matter. There's no stipulations. It is your home. You make the rules. So
But, just tired of that, you know?
hey, I mean, I'm not going to kick on renting. I mean, there is a time and a place and a season for renting. You absolutely have
There
to
is. That's how we got here from Pennsylvania. We had
So
to
you didn't
rent.
know the area. You don't know where you're going. You
Right.
didn't know where you wanted to go. There's a reason for renting.
Right.
My issue is when people rent long term for their entire life because they've decided somehow that they don't qualify or they can't do it or it's harder than they're thinking, and so they never just take a chance. Just do it.
Everybody's afraid. Like my
Yes.
thoughts are, okay, if I pay this mortgage, what if my furnace blows? Well, I have money for that. So you get that dug into your brain that you can't afford it. But yet again, you can because your rent isn't as high. You know what I mean? It's your home. It's already been inspected. You fix it the way it's supposed to be fixed.
Yes.
You know, so I've learned that
Then
the last
you have equity. Like let's say it already appraised for 250,000. Let's say that's 50,000 of equity. You can actually get a home equity line of credit. It's an asset. It is
right.
not just something you pay on. It's actually an asset. You also get tax write-offs and things throughout the year. I'm not going to get into it too much because I am not a CPA, nor do I play one on TV. But I know that you have depreciation on your, on the house itself, and you have the mortgage interest rate you're also going to get. So, there's tax things. They call houses tax shelters for a reason. They really, really are. So there's just so many good, and the only thing holding you back is yourself. So that's exactly why we do these. So I'm so excited y'all came in here. And Medina made a beautiful spread over there too. Oh my God, look at that. I'm like drooling over here. But I'm so glad that you guys were able to come in and ask these questions and stuff. Because yeah, $3,000 a month in rent.
What I told you is happening in January, February, I don't know the amount. So we may be holding off until January, until I get some notice from the financial people.
Sure.
But because I don't know the exact amounts for everything, but we start getting the ball rolling.
Yeah, but we can like take a look at
we can do that.
the credits in the programs.
We can do that.
Knowing that the money is this is coming in later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect because it's definitely Is it okay to, like, my car, the lease is up, so I'm gonna need a new car in February. That's okay to go do this kind of things and just live life like you're supposed to?
No. You're buying a house? No. You gotta spend 10-15 minutes to do the application. I gotta know your situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're buying a house,
Yeah.
there's in this blue book, okay?
Got it?
Open up the blue book, okay? And there's a form on the left side, I think. It's called loan envelope. See this? Read that middle part right there. Read the middle.
Right. Okay, but let qualify that though, because if you're not in the process, you're not going to move or you're not going to purchase for the next 3 months.
I'm not.
Yeah. Okay.
But I can't do anything. My lease is up on my car. I got to do something.
Wait, so you're saying your lease is up? You need to get a new car?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to release a new car.
Yeah,
That's all.
gotcha.
Mhm.
So whatever payment you create from
Mhm.
this new lease,
Mhm.
okay, is going to factor into your debt to income ratio, okay? Yeah. So you're going to have that one debt,
I still
right?
have it
It's gonna,
now,
it's
right?
gonna, right. So it's going to go against. So I don't know your whole situation.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is I don't have any. I paid all my student loans off. Yay, guys. I don't have any credit cards. We're good.
So yeah,
So,
it should
cars, I get.
do it too much.
And
Just
I'm doing
don't
it
get a
again.
Jaguar.
You have something called credit score, okay? So
Yeah, I know that.
if you go apply for
Yeah.
then they're gonna do a hard.
Yeah.
Okay, that will affect your.
Yeah, there's not, like I said, but there's not, I can do my leases up.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna buy this.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, too many miles on it.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's just, I mean, if you don't finance, I mean, obviously, it's better, but.
I might,
If
no,
you do that, right?
Might.
But it depends on how much you wanna buy, it depends on how much income
I think you and I need to talk
Yeah.
about that because I don't know my options.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I said, come January, February, the options are a lot different. They don't need it for here, then I'm making. But
When's your lease up?
my lease isn't up until August 1st, so we've got some time.
Okay.
I know we said that, you're saying, and I get that with the 2 months and everything.
Well, that's your moving time, not your.
I know, my moving time would be like December 1st.
Oh.
No, it can't be.
She's like, ready. I'm ready. No, no.
Part of the plan with you, so. It's not like I'm in a hurry, like I have to do anything, but I want to do it the right way.
Yes.
And make it, like you said, make that plan getting here.
That's what it's about. It's about the snapshot, figuring out where you're at right now. We gather all that information, figure out, okay, this is the best program. But let's say it's not working right now, then okay, I'll give you exact instructions. I know how to increase your credit score.
That's what I'm saying.
5,
Mhm.
10, 15, 20,
Mhm.
30 points and tell you how long it'll take, exactly what you have.
Yeah.
That's huge because the higher the credit score, the better the interest rate.
Right.
Better the interest rate, okay, the lower the monthly payments, the more programs you get into,
Right.
all of it, right?
What's an ideal credit score?
Well, okay, so on the low end to the high end, so, okay, there's another piece of paper, right, in here. It's the credit score paper. Let's see, I forget. I'm on the left side, yeah. So this one right here on the left side, credit score thing, it tells you how to control your credit score. Okay, so the way I look at it is we can do a loan on someone with a low of 500 credit score. Do I recommend that? No. Okay. You got to put a minimum of 10% down to do that. If you have a 580 credit score, you got to put a minimum of 3.5% down. If you have a 600 credit score, you open the door to down payment assistance programs. Okay. And from 600 to 700, that's all with the goodies. That's where the goodies go.
Get afraid of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of the 600s,
Yeah.
that's a high.
Yeah, that's where the goodies are. And then we get the 700 and above. Now your credit score is so high, you get discounts on mortgage insurance, you get discounts on the rate, you get discounts on everything starts to get really affordable. You know? So, do you want to wait till you're 700? No, you want to get into a home as soon as possible to avoid paying the rent.
Right.
Because that you're losing money. Like me, I love like calculating money and all that kind of stuff. So, you just got to stop.
It's the aggravation too.
Yeah.
Because it's not mine.
Yeah.
You know?
It's freedom, guys.
Yeah.
You're not free.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm always worried about what's going to break next.
Yeah. You're stressed.
Yeah.
You know what stresses me out about owning a home is having to take care of the things of the home.
Okay.
Floating work on, the AC breaks down.
Yeah.
That's all my concerns.
Yeah. It's scary.
Yeah. Unfortunately, your situation sounds like your landlord isn't that great. My dad's pretty good. If I ever have a problem, I can just call him up and say, hey, I'm having issues with the CFC over there in a couple of days. I don't like calling him because, I don't want people in the house.
I agree.
So it's like, I don't call him for every little thing. I just usually try to take care of myself. But those big expenses, meant to me.
So here's the thing on that, and that's totally understandable that like, oh my gosh, what happens if this?
Yeah.
Right. What am I going to do?
Well, that's what insurance is mainly for, like good hurricanes and whatnot.
What's neat about a home too is as it appreciates, right, it goes up in value, right? And I think Andrea touched on this, is that you can get a home equity line of credit. So you can't go to a landlord and like, hey, can I borrow like 10 grand?
Right.
You can go to your house and hey, I can borrow 10
10
grand
grand off
to
the
pay
house.
for whatever you got to pay for in an emergency situation.
And universally, right? Not just for the house. But I don't think I would do that because I might get them to a hole.
Well, I mean, you don't, if you don't have to, you don't do it, right? But it's a backstop. It's a security blanket. If you're a renter, you don't have to.
But like my parents was, and I tell them 20 grand today. He didn't. So
Yeah,
I'm
that's right.
exaggerating.
That's a lot.
But at least you have that in the back.
So
that I can do that.
when you're purchasing your home, you got your realtor checking out the houses. Look for a home with good bones. And inspection report is huge. I want a water heater that's 25 years old, a roof that's only like 6 years old. I want, there's certain things that are not gonna break if they're brand new, right?
Right.
But if you buy something that's like 50 years
Like the
old,
house I'm in right now.
I mean, you might be doing some work.
You buy some of these issues.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
5,000 homes, she says. 5,000.
Yeah.
You got a lot of homes to pick from. Trust me, she's gonna sift through all those for you. But and you'll find. And then one of the things for you is gonna be, look, I want to find a newer, right?
Mhm.
A newer home with a better, HVAC, plumbing, all that.
They have to disclose all that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
There's no hidden no.
Yeah, if you buy a home maybe after 2001 or 2021, 22, I think you're good shape. There's a lot of new homes.
Yeah. I'm looking for another property.
That's what I
That's what I would like.
Yeah.
4 children, 2 dogs, pets. I'd like to have some other kind of animals.
Yeah.
Some goats and I think goats and
Oh, my goats.
Yeah.
They're pets, 2 of them. So yeah,
So I would like to have.
the Trigger knows.
Yeah.
Cute. They are cute.
It can be,
They're my babies.
so they get your garden.
But well, yeah, but that's okay. But around
I
here,
mean-
it's on that.
Yeah.
You know,
Like in the
you said.
Denellen area, I think
That's where.
there's
that's
about
where
an
I wanna go.
acre. They got a house for like, I don't know, 1900 or something. I mean, I've seen these houses that way. It's not too bad. Some space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what if I am looking at getting everything all fixed up, but I'm not sure I want to buy here? Buy in Ocala or even Florida. So,
Yeah. I mean,
work on loans that are universal for.
well, I'm licensed in Florida.
Okay.
Okay, but I'm in cross country where I work. It's a national company. So what I would do is I would take your application, get you all financed, and make sure you're approved and get you stable, right? And you're like, okay, I want to go buy in Georgia, right? Well, we have a team in Georgia, so then I would just work with that person. I'm not licensed there, so I can't talk numbers for you in Georgia,
Okay.
But I'll get you all set up so you understand, you're approved. And basically, I would send over to that team over there and then work with them, and I'd be kind of a liaison almost. you know, but when they're talking numbers, they have to talk to you directly without me because I'm not licensed. So like going over that, she talked about the closing disclosure at the very end, you know, 3 days before you close, we have to talk about the numbers. Well, I can't do that with that personal report. I mean, if you're buying but I can set you up in the beginning, get you ready, pre-qual, you know, ready to go. You know.
So when you're pre-qualified in that, you got a general idea of what your mortgage is gonna be.
Oh, yeah.
Price.
Yeah, you'll know exactly what it is until what it's called. You find a home, right? You make an offer, you get acceptance from the seller and the buyer, and we're in contract. We're going through the escrow. You paid. And then there's a point where broker get a lock rate. It's called locking the rate. Okay, the rates change Monday through Friday, twice a day. All right, they go up and down, up and down, up and down. It's like a stock market. Okay, so once we lock it, we'll sit down and talk again, and I'll tell you what your payment is, the numbers. I'll go over that big document with all those. You'll know everything. I'll clearly, if there's something you don't know, you're gonna ask me, and I'm not gonna let you go away without knowing what that means. Because there's a lot of stuff on there, especially first time home buyer. It's super confusing. Super confusing.
I hear them talk about points and stuff.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah, you know when you basketball 3-pointers,
Yeah.
there's 2-pointers. Free
Oh,
I would buy it too.
again, try again.
So there's something called pricing. So we talked about locking the rate. Right? So let's just say I go on the computer. I go Tina, is it Dan?
It's okay, you'll learn
Yeah,
it.
I'll learn it. Yeah,
Mhm.
Dan, I'll work forever.
You'll know it, yeah.
So you know, I got your loan set up. You're on the computer. You have your parents' profile. It's all set to go. We're gonna do USDA and maybe like you got in the contract with the inspection came back and it was good to go. You're like, all right. And I'll call you up and I go, hey, Dan, look, check it out. The rates today they went down to like 6.1, and it's pretty good. Yeah. So or you get 5.8 and pay like half a point, which is 50 basis points, which is like 0.5% of the loan amount, which is let's just say $1,000 from $200,000 loan. And I was like, if you pay that $1,000, your interest rate will go down to 5.8. So let's lock it at 5.8. Pay that $1,000, okay, and your monthly payment goes from $1,700 to $1,650. That $50 savings times 12 is $600. Yeah, and then and after 2 years, you made money because after 600 times 2 years is $1,200. You get $1,000 for that to go from 6.1 to 5.1. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then,
you think everybody wants to do that?
well, it's for you guys who are going to be in the home for a long period of time, right? Then you want to get the lowest rate possible because you're going to be paying that for a long period. However, remember, if rates do drop, I'll put you on a rate watch after we do it, and I'll say, okay, if it goes down to like 4.8, I'll call you guys up and let's do a refinance. Okay. You know what I mean? It makes sense. You can do a refinance, maybe at zero cost, and your monthly payment will go down like $150 because it went from 6.1 to 4.1. So, and that's home ownership. You can't lower your rent when you're renting. It just goes up.
It's gonna go up.
It just goes up. Yeah. So, and then you can't use your rental as a piggy bank to borrow from. You can't do that. So it's a backstop. It's just in case. You never know. And trust me, when you buy a house for $250,000, 10 years goes by, and now it's worth $400,000, and now it's not a loan for $250,000, it's a loan for $150,000 because you paid so much off. Right. Now you have all this money in your house. You're thinking, oh, should I go to a bigger house? Oh, should I sell it and make it? Should I downsize into the condo or something because I don't want to deal with, I don't know, an acre of land. I've been mowing the lawn and my son doesn't want to do anything. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like Andrew says, it changes. 2 to 3 years, people.
Yeah. So even though you get the 30-year mortgage chance, you're not saying,
possibly.
Yeah.
But that's going to help people. Okay, the reason the 5th-year mortgage we're talking about, there's some positives. This is the positive. Okay, the average person that's getting into homes right now is 40 years old. Okay, it's gone down. Affordability. Yeah. So people used to get into the homes, first-time home buyers before. Now it's like 40 actually, which is crazy.
Yeah,
because which is it's expensive. That's why, right? So Trump's like, okay, 50-year mortgage. Let's throw it out there. It's giving you a lower monthly payment.
Yes.
Okay. So they can get into the house, and then after maybe 2-3 years, you can always refinance into a 20-year, 25 or 30. It opens the door to. No one's gonna really pay for big homes. No one's gonna really. Yeah.
get that thing done as soon as I can.
Yeah, so, for some, but there's a lot of young people right now that just can't
But it
afford
gets
it.
you in
But
there.
it gets you in. Now you own the house, okay? You pay the mortgage every month. The principal goes down. You're building equity. You're building wealth in your home. You're not paying someone's rent, right? The landlord's not getting there. So all that's good stuff. After 5 or 6 years, your house was 250, now it's worth 350. And now you have some equity. Like, hey, Tony, let's refinance. Let's go to 25 years.
That actually happened not long ago to one of my customers. She's actually younger and she's single. And statistically, that is actually really rare to have as a home buyer, especially a first-time home buyer. No, her whole family, they were all renting, and she's like, I know I can do better than this. So she went in, and at the time, this was, I'm gonna say it was pre-COVID, so it was maybe 2018, 2019. She says, I can only afford this. Actually, we went and talked to the lender, and the lender said you can only afford this. It was 125,000, and she needed closing costs included. And she's like, it has to be 4-bedroom, and it has to have tile flooring. At that time, that was not very easy to do. But we did actually find a few houses that fit in her price range. She went ahead and purchased one of the houses. It had a new roof, so she didn't have to worry about major expenses or whatever for a while. She called me up 3 years later. So now this is after COVID. Houses have soared. 3 years she was paying on the mortgage. She had over $150,000 in equity in that house.
Wow.
The house had literally doubled. And so she's like, okay, I'm ready to take the next step. I'm like, please tell me what the next step is for you. Cause I'm kind of scaring me at this point. She says, I need to, some of my family is going to move in with me. And so I'm going to charge them rent for their rooms or whatever. That's going to be a private deal for us, but I don't want them paying a landlord anymore. So I now need a 5-bedroom home, and I would like it to be brand new construction. And I'm going to be moving over to another neighborhood. And I was like, let's do this. She was able to move into a brand new construction home, 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom, absolutely gorgeous house. And she paid over $100,000 down on it because she sold her other house at market price. And then she took that money, put it into the other one, and she did in fact move on the same time. She moved out of one, packed everything in her stuff, and moved right into that brand new home. And she is still currently living in that home. I'm not sure what she's going to call me next on, but maybe she'll buy 2 and rent out to her family the other one. I have no idea. But she has over $100,000 she paid down, and it was nothing that she put in. That was strictly money that she made just because the market shifted. It was crazy. It's absolutely crazy what they can do. Yeah, it was wild. I don't know, but she was young enough to not be afraid of anything, I guess. So it was pretty cool. It was really cool. I loved helping her with that. I'm going to go ahead and log off here. Again, thank you guys so much for coming. I really, really appreciate that. Medina is definitely able to help you, and Tony as well. But I'm going to go get myself on vacation and get out of this car because I've been in it since 7 a.m. this morning. So y'all have a great one. Thanks so much. And we'll see you in the next one. Okay.
Bye.
Have fun.